This has been one epic road trip. The final stretch, Colorado to California. One last run down the western slope of the Rockies to the Pacific coast, through the desert and into the sprawl of Los Angeles. This has been my longest road trip by far. 10 weeks, coast to coast and back again. 30 states, 10,000 miles, sea to shining sea. Cannonball Baker's got nothing on me. In a lot of ways though, this has been one of my most challenging adventures yet. I never quite got into the sustainable rhythm between working and life. I mentioned in an earlier video how on previous extended road trips I was unemployed, and on even longer trips I wasn't driving as much, so I've rarely felt at ease. This is the biggest issue with being someone who travels as much as I do. There is, undoubtedly, the Instagrammable epicness of being a travel writer, but that never shows the other side of it. I still need to work, so that photo or video might have been taken during a brief window where I wasn't in some hostel working. That's not a complaint, just pointing out the delicate equilibrium that's often unseen, and that I was all too aware was out of balance. I'd spent over a year building up this trip in my mind, a vital escape and a return to normalcy after a year stuck inside. Don't get me wrong, it was that. I just put so much hope, too much hope, into this being a new start after such darkness. But as the summer wore on and we learned more of the Greek alphabet than we ever thought we would, I realized I was wrong to be so optimistic. Hope is weird. The thinking and planning for this trip gave me hope through many dark days. Then, as I drove, the miles gave me hope that I'd be able to return to my former life, be able to see the friends I'd made while traveling, hear unknown languages, try new foods, blend in or stand out in ways I can't do at home. As I approached LA, however, that hope faded. I saw the long stretch of the weeks and months ahead and knew that the new normal was not going to be the old normal. Not anytime soon, maybe never. But again, that hope. There's an ember of it somewhere, flickering, huddled down, hiding from the wind, a wind prolonged by stupidity and ignorance. On better days, I can breathe on the ember by looking back at this trip and remind myself what's possible. Like the way Highway 70 weaves its way through a stunning mountainous landscape, the way the endless rolling hills of South Dakota offer serene, pastoral beauty, the alienness of the Badlands, quiet curves of Teddy Roosevelt National Park. The week spent with my parents and Booker. I'm fortunate that they made it through 2020, and I'm even more fortunate to have been able to spend that time with them. I was also glad to see the stars above Great Sand Dunes, brief as that was. I took a slight detour on this last stretch to see a part of the country I'd wanted to see for years, Monument Valley, with its flat-topped sandstone buttes and mesas of red reaching for the sky out of a flat, desolate landscape. It's the land of John Ford and Wile E. Coyote, of countless westerns and cartoons, of the Navajo, past and present. It's probably what many people picture when they hear American Southwest. The wildfire haze unfortunately limited the view here as well, but it was still magnificent. The more I think about it, the biggest highlight of this trip was the driving itself. The drone of my 2-liter engine roaring along black asphalt that stretched horizon to horizon, definitely going exactly the speed limit, hour upon hour of seeing what's new, what's around the corner, what's next. What's next is an interesting question. I don't know. Maybe that's okay. I'm not sure. The last 2 years have certainly taught me not to plan too far in advance. In a way, though, I've been here before. In March 2017, I nearly bought the big one, and I remember vividly as I came out of the post-op haze that I'd gotten a second chance. I think that's pretty normal, given the situation. Not least because my surgeon literally said, "You're lucky to be alive." With little else to do, I lay there and wondered, what is next? I've been given a second chance, so what should I do with it? I'm lucky because when that was all laid bare, all I wanted to do was go back to what I was doing before. There were worlds left to see. I had no plot-changing epiphany. I'd spent years crafting the life I'd been living. It was the happiest I'd ever been, and more than anything, all I wanted was to return to it. But I didn't know if I could. I had no idea what lingering issues I'd have, and it turns out I did have, and still do, but I made it work. By sheer will, I refused to give up, and had some of the best years of my life. So that's what I'm trying to grab onto now. breathing on that tiny ember. Change is the only constant. That's just life. It's how we deal with that change that defines us. So I don't know what's next, but there will be a next. I hope you join me. Thanks for watching.
Carry me outside, I want daylight. Carry me outside.